Hello, welcome back. Thanks for joining me. Today we're going to go through the new Techno Muscle Volume 2 sample pack made by Skoden. It's out now via Green Fetish Records. Techno Muscle Volume 1 was massive. We did that at the end of 2023, which did very well. And I did that one, but I was trying to think, who can we get to really raise the bar and make it as valuable as possible for producers, and that landed on Skoden. If you live under a rock, he's from Birmingham, England. He's on Fire. He's on Green Fetish and a whole range of other labels. He's done collab stuff with Rebecca. He's on Heck Date, all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to show you what's in the pack and then show you how you can use the sounds he's created. These are all royalty free. I'm going to bump this bar set straight up to 155, and we're going to start with some kick loops that he's got in here. So we've got loops that are already done, layered, hard as nails. You get the gist. We then have the kick one-shot bangers. Great for further processing, great to throw in simpler or a drum rack, put them in MIDI, take them even further. We've got layered kick loops, mayhem, which includes some of the rumbles and the sucks, and then we have the layered one-shots also, which are wild. So there's heaps of kicks in there. Bass and low end, we've got offbeat bass loops. More simple one-shot bouncy stuff. We also then have running bass loops. Pure aggression, probably best a side chain, but you can do whatever you like, of course. We did include side bass loops because they've been going off at the moment, and they're quite handy just to get that gallop going, especially when we're higher up the BPM range. Followed from that, we've got perk groove loops. These can just get the party started. 2 channels, 2 samples. We'll do some leveling. Again, just chopping up. Let's throw a few channels in here. We're going to need them. What I love about what he's done with the perk loops, it's not just like traditional drum kit acoustic stuff. There's a whole bunch of different spectrum of sounds in there. Some of them are processed as well. They're really aggressive, which is the whole point behind the Techno Muscle brand. I'm using stuff like that. No doubt. I'd be chopping things like that. I'd be reversing it. Let's have a look. This is what I do a lot. Wow. A whole range. There's 50 in there. The good thing is when you get into the more lower end, crunchier sound loops, like that, yeah? Let's turn these off. I'd be using shit like this for in between the kicks. So even if we delete the loop, it's going to be clashing there, right? I'd be seeing what sort of gallops I can get out of the perk loop, but using it to complement the low end. There's quite a sustain on this kick, so I might just use that more as a one-shot. I would probably switch this around, if we go that way, to get that more aggression. So if we chop that there, put that here, duck the kick, or I might do something more aggressive. I'd then filter the high end and then start rolling. But you can do whatever you please. That's the beauty of, we don't want to do that. Let's delete that. That's a mistake. We'll open this loop back up, get out of that, turn these back on. Do a full loop, consolidate. So perk loops, heaps in there, 50 of them. He's done a whole bunch of rave stabs. I'd probably use these as the one shots and see where I can fit these in, especially if we've got similar sounds up in here. I'd be pushing and pulling those two sounds, looking at what space I have to use this channel, this stab, as more of a question mark. The next bar over, I'd obviously change the cadence of that and amplify that and just build on that even further. Heaps in there. See, something like that, which is a lot more snappy and short, I'll be looking to throw in as simpler. I'm sure you already know why, but let's just try that out. Something so small, we can throw that in there, get it on the piano roll. And then drawing, fuck, I can't draw for shit, but let's mute these two sounds. Let's go back up here. Let's change. Let's get more of that. You know, something like this, I'd then look. Did that in seconds, right? But that's how I'd be using those shorter, snappier one-shots, no doubt about it. We've also got the ARP loops, a bit more synth-based. Not typically melodic, which is intentional, but you know, like maybe on every second beat, I'd like double it just to really emphasize each point. Fuck yes, go. Then, that's not going to work. I'd maybe transpose that. I'd definitely be pitching that up to try and have that complement that if I wanted to push and pull both. But yeah, heaps in here. I'd then see what I could do here. Where's my fade? There it is. If you're doing stuff like this, then filtering, rolling the high end off, be throwing delays. Fuck yeah. Percussion. We put in folders. We've got hat loops, then some one shots here. So if we want a bit more energy, help complement this channel up here. Let's get rid of that. See this? I might do something like that. Separate that. Maybe not there. But this is how I use samples, exactly as you see it. A lot of chopping to create my own sample, then processing that further. So already just by chopping what we had, if we get rid of this ARP loop, now using these two together, the purpose of that is emphasizing the start point there, but then having this introduce that attack up of the perc loop 29. Yeah, we're doing this fucking in minutes, right? Further processing and manipulation is always encouraged. Yes, they're royalty free. Yes, you can drag drop and use them out the box like I'm doing, but always further recommendation of manipulation is crucial for a few things. You can take it to oblivion, you can shape it into your own, and then you can get further unique sounds and your own samples out of that original sample. That's the whole point of that. You can use these as starting points of audio that can be manipulated. But the good news is the starting point is already usable and you're already able to keep going. Now, they're the hat loops. Percussions, we had one shot, claps, crashes, hats, perks. These are good for transient layers. I was using these the other day. You know, you can already see the shapes of them, but I'd probably just emphasize them more. So let's say we made a kick group, put the transient up the top. Oh, offbeat. Blending in their taste, processing further. Especially these ones that have that sort of mid-range, could be a bit more aggressive. Obviously EQing from there, whatever your flavor is, reverb, delay. But they're great for, I would personally, the lower sounding ones, like if we mute this bass, let's leave that there. So if we mute the bass, I would be using these lower ones in MIDI, but I'll just do it now quickly like this. And getting like a tom pattern. Using the fades to shorten the decay. Then let's do this. I will, because I'm a sick. Let's warp that. %, that's what I'm doing. There's no doubt about me doing that. That's what I mean. I'm using those one shots a little bit more creatively. Then, you know me, that's just getting straight amped, under heavy, you know, wild. So if we get rid of that ARP loop, as it builds, I will then change the cadence and just keep building on that. I think one of those is slightly out of time, but you'll get the point. Let's bring it over here. Or you can just go full way aggressive for most of the loop. That's how I'd be using them. That's how I do use them. And there's heaps of them. But then other ones that have higher frequencies in them, I'd be using as like, hang on one sec, more maybe delay based, just to sort of get a bit more movement and detail in the track. And less often. So I'm just using them as hints throughout the track. Change that bass back. So you can see with the chopping them short and snappy, adding your delays, we can push and pull and start filling the track with a lot of effects and a lot of detail very quickly. I'll be building that the whole way through. Another channel here. Snares as well. One shots, good for layering. Great for build-ups. I used one the other day in a, I had a MIDI pattern drawn for snares, then I was just swapping snares out, end up using one of them from there. We've got a small batch of voxes.
We want that big fuck you. Fuck you.
Fuck you, Skoden.
Fuck you.
Let's turn that down. Vocals, I personally like to beat repeat the shit out of them. And let's do that now. Where is it? Alphabetical order. Just turn the filter on. Just getting more detail on it.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Like that there, that last chop, personally, I'm freezing and flattening that to audio.
Fuck you.
And getting that last part and using that differently, wherever that takes me. Come on. Again, you can offbeat that, you can do a whole range of things. Now, also what I like to do, let's say something like this that I would use, which I would, I'm transposing that purposely, because now I know with that sort of crunchy tom sound, if that's getting transposed, it's going to get low, it's going to get grungy, and I'd be looking to use that maybe differently again. If you want to make like a bit of a swing, now consolidate that, and then transposing it again collectively. Yeah, if that was sidechain more. Hang on, mate. I'd be going again that way, consolidate, loop. If we take out those effects there, maybe that one. Let's fuck the Vox off. Now, that's all under that same one kick. If you're going back and obviously taking your time while you're producing, being a bit more strategic, you can then go through and change any of these, and changing those kicks is going to give you a whole different taste, a whole different direction. So if we just swap these out with what we've created underneath. I'm purposely not EQing or processing anything so you can hear them raw, then you can let your own techniques and processes take over from there. But yes, you can see very quickly there is a lot we can do in here. If you're not using those one shots, you're using something a bit more static, you can use art. And you can go back to your snappy MIDI drawings, and then you've got all these effects that we had earlier. Lots of possibilities, endless tracks can be made. It has everything in there. It's a beast. Shout outs to Skoden. Check him out. His links are now below. It's out now. It's everywhere. There's over 600 sounds, loops and samples and sounds. They're all royalty free. I hope you enjoy it. I hope even just this little insight to how I use samples was helpful. And we'll see you next week. Thank you.